Here to another section of our class for this course, plantain farming. So this is the fifth module. This is module 5 for the course. We said we have 10 different modules, so this is module 5, and in this module the topic that we'll be discussing is starting a plantain farming business in Nigeria, where we'll be taking us through the journey or through the process of how to the way to go if you want to start a plantain farming business in Nigeria, the necessary steps to take. So this is mainly what this module will be discussing. However, we have some other subtopics that are under this topic for the module 5 for this module, like which makes the contents of the module. Speaking about the module contents, we have in this module, learners will be able to study the following. This will be able to study about the step-by-step guide to starting a plantain farm, or learners will also learn about capital and budget planning, meaning of capital in plantain farming, budget planning in plantain farming, meaning of business registration, types of business ownership in plantain farming, the steps involved in registering a plantain farming business, farm location. We look at the meaning of farm location. Also, we also look at farm expansion planning. Then we also look at marketing strategies in plantain farmers. And then afterwards, we also look at export opportunities in plantain farming. Then we also look at the financial management in plantain farming. And lastly, in this module, the subtopic that we'll be looking at, that we'll be discussing, is scaling a plantain farming business. These are different subtopics that revolves around the topic for this module, starting a business, a plantain farming business in Nigeria. Now let's move on to the introduction. We already know that plantain farming, we've been saying it over and over and again, that it is an important agricultural business that provides food, income, and employment for many people. So as the demand for plantain continues to increase in local, and also in the international markets, farmers have the opportunity to expand their business and earn higher profits. So this to expand their business, this is what we'll be discussing in this module, how we can actually go about it. How to start a proper plantain farming business. Now, also scaling a plantain farming business involves increasing production, improving farming methods, adopting modern technology, and reaching larger markets. With proper learning, investment, and management, plantain farming can grow from a small scale operation into a successful commercial enterprise. Now let's move on to the step-by-step guide to starting a plantain farming. Following the correct procedures will help farmer achieve healthy plant growth and high yield and sustainable production. So one of the first step is to conduct feasibility study and planning. The first step in starting a plantain farming is conducting a feasibility study and proper planning. Anything without a proper plan will definitely or will eventually lead to loss if care is not taken. The second step is to select suitable farmland. By choosing suitable farmland is actually very important in plantain farming, because plantain grows best in fertile, well-drained, loamy, and soils rich in organic matter. So you have to select a suitable farmland. When you are done selecting a suitable farmland, then you conduct soil testing, in the sense that this testing will help determine the nutrient status and the pH level of the soil before you start planting. And then afterwards, when you are done conducting the soil testing, then you can move on to clear and prepare the land. So this involves clearing bushes, removing tree stumps, weeds, and unwanted materials from the land. After clearing, the land may be ploughed, harrowed, or ridged depending on the farming system. And then afterwards, you move on to select healthy planting materials. Plantain is commonly propagated using suckers, so you move on to that. Still on step by step, you got to start a plantain farm. Then after selecting healthy planting materials, then you move on to prepare planting holes. These are prepared before planting the suckers, so the hole should be wide and deep enough to support root development. So when you are done preparing planting holes, then you plant the suckers properly. So planting is usually done in the beginning of the rainy season to ensure adequate moisture supply. So the sucker is placed upright in the plant hole and covered firmly with soil. Afterwards, you apply mulching and irrigation. This mulching actually involves covering the soil around the plant with dry grass, leaves, or crop residues to conserve moisture and reduce weed growth. Then after, you monitor your plantain till it becomes ripe enough to harvest. Now let's move on to the next subtopic in this module, which is capital in plantain farming. When we are talking about capital, I believe we all know what capital is. It actually refers to the money, the equipment, the materials, and other financial resources that are used in establishing and managing a plantain farm or even any business at all. But since we are talking about plantain farm now, so let's limit it to plantain farm. So capital is very essential and is needed to purchase farm inputs, to pay workers, to maintain equipment, and support daily farm operations. So we look at the different types of capital used in plantain farming. We have fixed capital, working capital. So fixed capital includes long-term assets used repeatedly in farming operations, with like a farmland and irrigation system. Working capital refers to money that are used for daily farm operation and short-term expenses. These include purchase of suckers, fertilizers, and chemicals, and so on. Now, why is capital planning in planting farm? Why is it essential? Why is it significant? Let's look at the importance of this. One, for proper capital planning. Proper capital planning provides many benefits to farmer, which includes the following. We have one, it helps farmer estimate production cost. It also assists in resource allocation. It prevents unnecessary spending. These are the importance of capital planning in plantain farming. Now, budget planning in plantain farming. Let's look at this is another subtopic under this module, starting a plantain farming business in Nigeria. You have to budget plan. It actually involves estimating the expected income and expenses of the farm before production begins. A farm budget helps the farmer determine whether the farm business will be profitable and financially sustainable. Components of a plantain farm budget: we have the land acquisition and preparation costs. This one includes expenses related to obtaining and preparing farmland. Examples are land purchase or rent, bush clearing, and so on. We also have planting material costs. So this involves the purchase of healthy suckers or tissue culture plantlets. Example, soil suckers and so on. Transportation, the falls under this planting materials cost. Labor cost is another component, in the sense that labor costs include payments made to workers involved in different farm operations activities like land clearing, planting, and so on. Fertilizer and agrochemical costs. These are expenses related to improving soil fertility and controlling pests and diseases. Now, business registration in plantain farming. How can we get our business registered, register our business as for someone that wants to start plantain farming in Nigeria? This business registration is actually the official process of registering if a farming enterprise or your business with the appropriate government authority or regulatory agency. In Nigeria specifically, business registration is commonly carried out through the Corporate Affairs Commission, that's the CAC. So different types of business ownership in plantain farming. We have the sole proprietorship, we have the partnership, we have the limited liability company, and so on. For the sole proprietorship, this actually is just as the name implies, is a business that is owned and managed by one individual. So advantages of this is include easy to establish, full control by owner, and simple decision making. Disadvantages of this sole proprietorship plantain farming. This sole proprietorship type of business ownership in plantain farming is limited capital and unlimited personal liability. Now, partnership is a business owned by two or more individuals. So the advantages of this include share responsibility, increased capital availability, and better decision making. And the disadvantages include possible disagreements or shared profits. We also have limited liability company. This is a registered company with separate legal identity from its owners. Advantages of limited liability company are: one, better access to finance, limited liability protection, greater business expansion opportunities, while the disadvantages include more legal requirements, higher registration costs. Now, let's move on to the next subtopic, which is farm location in farming plantain. So farm location refers to the geographical area, that is the geographical setting or site that is selected for agricultural production. In plantain farming, the location of the farm affects crop growth, soil fertility, irrigation, transportation, legal availability, and market access. So we have some factors that we need to consider if we are going to select a farm location. These factors to consider when selecting a farm location include soil fertility and soil type, climate condition, the availability of water, accessibility, and transportation. They are very, very essential if we are selecting a farm location, in the sense that regarding the plantain sector that we are discussing, plantain farming sector, soil fertility and soil type is very essential for consideration. Plantain actually grows best in fertile, well-drained, loamy soil, rich in organic matter. Therefore, the soil should have good water holding capacity and prepare aeration to support root development. We should also consider climate condition. Plantains actually require warm temperature, high humidity, and adequate rainfall throughout the year. So, therefore, areas with stable tropical climate conditions are more suitable for commercial plantain farming. Availability of water is another factor to be considered because water is very essential for plantain growth, especially during dry periods or during dry season. So the farm should be located near reliable water sources such as rivers, streams, boreholes, or irrigation systems also. So we should also consider the transportation and accessibility. So in the sense that the farm should be easily accessible to road to facilitate transportation of farm inputs, workers, and harvested produce. So farm expansion planning, this actually refers to the process of increasing the size, capacity, productivity, or operations of a farming business over time. Expansion may involve increasing farmland, introducing mechanized system, improving irrigation, adding processing units, and so on. Why do we think our farm expansion is important? One, to increase, it will definitely increase production capacity. If we expand our farm, it will also improve profitability. There will definitely be more profit. Now let's look at the factors to consider in farm expansion planning. Also, you should consider, firstly, is your pockets. That's your capital, availability of capital. Do we have the necessary funds to do that? Expansion requires adequate financial resources for land acquisition, equipment purchase, irrigation systems, labor, and infrastructure development. You should also consider market demand, in the sense that farmers should study market demand before expanding production to avoid overproduction and financial losses. The market cannot be asking for B and you are farming A. You go ahead to expand your farm to you expand farm to also be producing A, instead of understanding that okay, market is now demanding for B. When you expand, you can definitely produce you can definitely produce A, B, so that you will be able to meet up with market demand. I'm just using that as an example so that we can actually follow. And we will also consider factors to also consider if we want to expand our farm is availability of land. Expansion may require additional farmland with suitable soil and environmental condition. Do you have enough farmland to expand? Hope if you expand, it's not that the next land there is the soil is not okay for farming compared to where you are. So you have to put all this into consideration. Now let's move on to the next subtopic in this module, which is marketing and plantain farming. Now in plantain farming, marketing involves identifying market opportunities, attracting customers, transporting products, and ensuring that plantain products will actually reach consumers in good condition. So let's look at the different types of plantain markets. We have the local markets, we have the urban markets, we have the processing industry, and the export markets. So just as the name implies, the local markets are markets within local communities where farmers sell fresh plantain directly to consumers and traders, while the urban markets provide larger customer bases and higher demand for fresh and processed plantain products. The processing industry also is another type of plantain market where plantain can be sold. The processing industry, in the sense that some industries purchase plantain for processing into flour, chips, and other food products. I believe we have justified this also in some of our modules initially. Then export markets, plantain products may also be exported to international markets. Now let's look at the different marketing strategies for plantain farmers. One is to ensure that you produce quality improvements, products quality improvements. High quality products attract more customers and improve market value addition and processing, in the sense that processing plantain into products such as chips, flour, puree, and dry slices increases shelf life and market demand. Proper packaging is another market strategy. You package your products very well, it will definitely protect products from damage and improve product representations. Like this packaging can include carton, baskets, plastic packaging, branded labels, nylon, and so on. And also market research. Farmers should study market trends, consumer demand, and pricing before production and sales. So it is important this will help determine profitable markets and improve pricing decision. Now let's move on to the next subtopic in this module, which is export opportunities in plantain farming. Export opportunities in plantain farming have definitely increased significantly due to the growing global demand for tropical food products. Plantain is widely consumed not only in Africa but also in Europe, in North America, in the Middle East, and parts of Asia, especially among African and the Caribbean communities. So plantain can be exported in both fresh and processed forms. Fresh green plantain is commonly exported to countries with high demand for African food products. Processed products such as plantain flour, plantain chips, dried plantain slices, plantain powder, and plantain puree also have strong export potential because they are easier to package, preserve, and transport over long distances. Several factors contribute to successful plantain exportation actually. One important factor is product quality. Export markets require plantain products that are clean, fresh, properly graded, and free from pests, diseases, and chemical contamination. So, still on export opportunities in plantain farming, packaging actually plays an important role also in plantain exportation. Fresh plantains are usually packed in ventilation cartons, crates, or padded containers to reduce bruising and spoilage during transit. There are several economic benefits associated with plantain exportation. So, in the sense that it will create employment opportunities for farmers, for processors, for transporters, for marketers, for exporters, and packaging industries. So exportation also increases foreign exchange earnings for the country and encourage the growth of agro-processing industries. Now, despite these opportunities, plantain exporters face several challenges, which could include poor transportation infrastructure, high cost of processing and packaging, and so on and so forth. Now let's move on. This topic is very essential in starting a plantain farming business in Nigeria. The topic is financial management in plantain farming. This is an essential aspect of successful plantain farming because it helps farmers to plan, to control, and utilize financial resources effectively for profitable agricultural production. Budget planning is one of the most important aspects of financial management in plantain farming. A farm budget is a financial plan that estimates the expected income and expenses involved in establishing and managing a plantain farm. So the savings and reinvestments are important for farm growth and sustainability also. Farmers are encouraged to save part of their profits for future farm expansion, emergency, or investment in improved technologies. Now, let's move on to the next subtopic, which is scaling a plantain farming. Scaling a plantain farming business involves increasing production, improving the efficiency, and expanding market reach. Here are the key steps to consider. You increase farm size. After increase farm, then you improve farming techniques. Then also you mechanize operation. You build a strong market with your out there. And you add value. Instead of selling only fresh plantain, you can also instead of selling only fresh plantain, you can also process it into something else that you can also sell along. So this way you get double money. You can hire and train workers, access funding, use modern technology, and you plan for long-term growth. In conclusion, now scaling a plantain farm business is valuable step by achieving greater productivity and profitability, and by expanding farmland, improving farming techniques, mechanizing operations, adding value to products, and building strong market connections. Farmer can increase their income, business growth. Proper record keeping, worker training, and access to funding also contribute to a long-term success. With dedication and effective management, plantain farming can create employment opportunities, improve food supply, and become a sustainable agribusiness for the future. This is Module 5. I believe we will be meeting in our next module, which is Module 6, where we will be discussing the next module. But in this module, where we discuss about starting a plantain farming business in Nigeria, we have taken ourselves to the step by step and the necessary and the important steps to take. If you want to start a business, you must get registered. You must register your business, have enough capital to start. You can start from whether you want to start as a sole proprietorship, you want to start as with partnership, or with limited liability company.